Ted Manning is President of Tourisk, Inc. and Chair of Sustainable Travel International Canada, providing sustainable destination planning and methods to UN agencies and to tourism projects in more than 50 countries. His focus is the effective planning and management of tourism destination, including provision of universal access to all. His clients include the UN World Tourism Organization, UNEP, and the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. His work has helped to integrate accessibility criteria in the overall planning process for sustainability for many tourism sites and destinations. Mr. Manning.
And you've left out Margot here, who's part of the presentation, and she's told me that she doesn't like surprises, and we've had altogether too many of them going around the world. We'll tell you a little bit about that and what we think will fix that. This is being done on behalf of Sustainable Travel International and Tourisk, an NGO and a private company that have been working with UN to plan sustainable destinations around the world. And we are increasingly trying to build access issues into the criteria and standards for those destinations. I'll skip through all of these facts that we all know, which is it's important and that everybody needs to have access, and that planning needs to integrate everyone. And if it doesn't, what we get is really not worth having. So what we really want to do is talk about how we make information available for people on how the destination they wish to go to really is. Not certification, but information. Can I go there? Well, poor people arrive at Machu Picchu to the parking lot having got all that way and suddenly find that they can't. Just 200 meters from the parking lot, if you can't do 50 to 100 stone stairs at a height of 9,000 feet, no, perfect. At 9,000 feet, you don't get to see this. You're stuck the other side of the wall and you spent a fortune, and we saw people crying in the parking lot. And they did not have visible disabilities, but they were certainly visibly disappointed. The big issue is there's no central clearinghouse for information on what's accessible. The problem is I can get classification systems, but ask yourself, am I the guy in the classification? Does that apply to me? Is that my limitation? Can I get past it, or is it in fact not right? Current classification systems suit a model person in a wheelchair and not everybody with different kinds of disabilities. They're complex and expensive, not the same in every country, based on assumptions regarding what capacities you have and don't have, and quite frankly, about 90% of the people, they don't quite fit. We are proposing an international information exchange on information called Access for All. It's on accessforall.travel, which we managed to get a hold of last week. And what we're trying to do is get a system for enterprises and sites to provide and share simple information. How far, how high, how rough, and what's there to let me get there. It is not a complex classification system. You don't have to pay somebody to set up standards and classify. It's just information. Who cares? Well, those folks probably do. Anybody with injuries, somebody with 6 kids, people carrying large amounts of luggage, people trying to get a bicycle through a door it won't fit through, everyone. And in fact, knowing ahead of time what you're going to run into is going to make a very large difference to how decent a time you have, and certainly to your travel agent, who doesn't have to find a way to get you back out when you hurt yourself. Why should the tourism industry care? Well, it's a growing market segment. Clients now see access as a right, And we should. It's a factor in marketability of destinations. If you want to get certification and sell yourself, it should be very important. And certainly there's issues of liability and risk if people don't have the right information and you lied to them, and you may be liable for the results. It's also a question of simply removing barriers, like that one my wife has run into in Volcanoes National Park. Can't get by that in a wheelchair. Margot.
Oh, oops, sorry. What accessibility means, it means we're unique. I'm not a symbol, I'm me. And everything just depends on what you are and what you want. I mean, some places are accessible. You go to the hotel, you can't get to the check-in because it's 30 stairs up. Or you check into your accessible room and you can't get in the bathroom. Elevator's out of service. In fact, I mean, these are factors that we decided are key sites. Distance, they have ramps. Is it gravel? Wheelchairs don't work well on loose gravel. Is there help? Some places there is, some there isn't. And there are other ways of getting around. The photo on the right is one alternate way to get on your cruise ship after a field trip. I am in a lifeboat being hoisted up. It was too rough to get back on the ship, so they left me in it and lifted me and the lifeboat up to the deck, after which I went to the bar. Okay, is Venice accessible? The first time we went there, it was. They'd had some something there, and everything was ramped, and there were lifts and some bridges. Next time we came back, the ramps had holes in them. Lifts didn't work. We were there last year, the ramps were gone. And my daughter was here this year, and she said there were still a few ramps left. But they have a marvelous set of maps called Accessible Venice, which divides it into red, green, and yellow areas, and green ones are generally accessible, and you don't have to cross bridges or too many canals. Well, we found if you just take a vaporetto to one spot, get off, wander around, go back, get on again, take the next spot, then you miss all the bridges. Sometimes McMartin Squares is flooded, in which case you can't get up on the raised sidewalks in a wheelchair. Can you visit the rice terraces? The answer is yes. You can be carried up in a sedan chair. So it was a pretty rough hike. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, back to me. The point on this is, wouldn't it have been nice to have that information first? Because the big problem we have is being surprised, either positively or negatively. We were delighted to find out you could get up the long 10 rice terraces instead of having to sit at the bottom. And so were a lot of very older or heavy-duty travelers who were also very happy to find someone who could carry them up. We found the solution to this kind of issue at Craters of the Moon National Park. And we found it a few other places too, and that is simply to provide the people in advance with that information which is most central to their experience. So what do we have here? You decide for yourself. It tells you how long the trail is, how steep, what the narrowest point is, what the surface is, and a whole lot of information that allows you to decide for yourself right at the trailhead, yeah, that's for me, or no, that's too steep or too far or too narrow or too rough. And why can't we provide the facts to other people? Because everyone will make a different decision when they find it's 5 miles long and has 18 steps. I take one look at it and say, oh, I'll go back with Margot and have that drink she was going to have. And other people will say, only 5 miles? Hell, I can do that in half an hour and then be back for drinks. So the issue really is to get beyond symbols and to get beyond classifications and to simply provide every individual with the information that they require to make their own decision regarding their capabilities and regarding their challenges. And every day is different. If I have two large friends with me, makes a big, big difference to whether or not I go to that viewpoint or whether or not I try to get onto that boat or whatever. The objective is to get a common set of information in front of people through the increasingly important electronic portals. People put information on it because they want to. People get information off of it because they intend to buy something or visit that place. Many certification programs, we're looking instead at having the facts. And if someone else wishes to have a certification program based on those and other facts, they're very welcome to do so. And we hope this would be a portal to them, so that one of the things on what you get when you hit the logo next to the spot on Google or next to the site on TripAdvisor, and we've been talking to them, and Margot says when we get a logo, we're still working to get a good logo, and we don't want a wheelchair. We want one that is broader in the sense that means access for anyone given whatever capacity or incapacity, and that's a rough symbol to come up with. In any event, what we're looking at is simple access information templates. We have test versions, and tomorrow at 9, if people want to come and look at them and work with us to try and make them better and link, we have a second session that was going to be really a workshop on the actual templates. But we have ones for accommodation, restaurants, viewpoints, ecological attractions, gondola lifts so far. No templates more than 2 pages. Anybody can complete a template in from half hour to 2 hours with a tape measure. And the big challenges are going to be to keep it up to date, and we have some ideas on how that is going to happen. And we've been talking to TripAdvisor about that as well. So we're looking really at crowdsourcing for validation. We want everything to expire within 6 months to a year if you don't verify that it's still like that. And we're looking really for this thing to go viral, and that would be our really ideal. I'm putting this on just now. I've got much bigger versions tomorrow. This just happens to be the one for gondolas, cable cars, and tramways. It's really simple stuff. You know, is there parking? How far is it? Are there barriers? Is the ticket office on the same level? Is there accessible parking? What's it like at each level? Do you have to go up or down something? How wide are the doors? And so forth. And it's very basic information. And this is right now going to be on our website. It's called accessforall.travel, and if you want to go in and look at it, and if you want to tell us how we can improve it, the challenge in each of these has got to be short and easy for the people putting it on to do, not expensive and complex. That way we hope to get a lot of buy-in, and we think that the proprietors of organizations will put it in themselves. If they won't, NGOs can. If they won't, you can. And we'll have a way of getting the information. We're still working on a validation protocols. Anyway, that's the whole. This is one for outdoor attractions, a little orchid conservatory telling you exactly how wide the paths are, how far it is, how long it is, how much gravel you have to go through or not. Just the facts of whether or not you believe after you've seen those facts that you really want to go there and can, or not, because you are aware of your own capacities and challenges. What's the status? Well, everybody we've talked to thinks it's a great idea, and we've also been warned, boy, you're trying to take on something that people have tried before. What's different? What's different is that we think that the travel internet people now actually understand there's a large constituency there that they can serve. First ones in, like Travelocity or Google, may well capture it and make profit from it. We think that if people are able to just click the logo, if it's on somebody's hotel site or on someone's attraction site, and they get through to the template, well, once they're in the template, you can sell them something. So if there is services available particularly to help people with challenges, if there are other things nearby that wish to advertise, it's a good vehicle, and therefore it may well be able to become commercial. The problem right now is to get enough buy-in so that TripAdvisor is not just interested, they're actually begging us to give it to them. We're still in the boardroom talking about that one. To get suppliers to list the access conditions just to gain market share, and to run a few pilots. And we're going to look at a few destinations to try and run pilots, probably the same as the ones we're doing for sustainable travel around the world through the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So the next steps are a workshop tomorrow morning for those who are interested in helping us and getting involved. Very informally right now, but we're looking for partners, we're looking for help. We're looking for people who know more about sectors. I'd love to have Scandic in the room. We've stolen some of their stuff because it was so very good as a basis for forming these templates. And we're also looking at exploration of links to other sites and certifications. So coming back to this, so can I visit Machu Picchu? And the answer is yes, now, because they've finally put in something you can arrange in advance that will get people to carry you through in a type of sedan chair. Can you find out information about that? It's not easy. So if you wish to join us tomorrow in this, my time is up.
Wow, right on time, too.
Bonjour, mon nom est Jean-Pierre. Je voudrais savoir aux différents présentateurs combien de temps il faut pour faire un audit et rentrer l'information dans l'ordinateur. Et la deuxième question, tous les combien de temps on fait une visite pour mettre à jour les données?
Alors, pour l'association Accès, au niveau de la régularité, donc c'est une évaluation qui est attribuée pour les bâtiments pour 3 ans. Et comme elle est à la demande du propriétaire ou du gestionnaire, s'il ne renouvelle pas sa demande, la labellisation disparaît du site Internet. Donc, s'il veut continuer à y figurer, il y a une nouvelle visite qui est refaite et c'est obligatoire. On repasse sur le terrain au minimum tous les 3 ans. C'est notre période de lancement. On sait bien qu'à terme, il faudrait pouvoir passer plus régulièrement encore. Concernant les événements, là, c'est une labellisation unique, seulement pour l'événement. Et là, le processus, je n'ai pas eu l'occasion d'en parler, mais est un peu différent, puisque là, on impose un accompagnement des organisateurs. Parce qu'un événement, c'est très compliqué à rendre accessible. Et pour le moment, on est tellement dans l'inconnu que les organisateurs d'événements ont besoin d'aide pour savoir comment on labellise, comment on met en place des adaptations pour les personnes handicapées dans un festival de rock au plein milieu d'une prairie. Ça leur paraît totalement impossible. Et donc on les suit pendant 3 à 4 mois à l'avance et on donne une information préalable. On annonce sur le site internet que les organisateurs ont l'intention d'atteindre ce niveau, un niveau X d'accessibilité. Et le jour de l'ouverture, on vérifie ce niveau d'accessibilité et il nous est arrivé, encore cette saison-ci, de ce qu'on dit dégrader le label, de dire non, vous n'avez pas atteint le niveau souhaité, et donc on redonne l'information sur le site internet. Et donc là, c'est une labellisation pour une édition de l'événement. Quant à la durée de l'audit, bien sûr, il dépend de la taille de l'infrastructure. On va dire que pour des bâtiments, en général, bâtiments classiques, hôtels, restaurants, etc., en une demi-journée, il n'y a aucun problème pour le faire. Maintenant, on sait bien qu'on doit gagner du temps sur l'encodage et la transcription des résultats, puisque les audits sont payants pour les propriétaires. Donc, plus on gagne du temps, plus c'est attractif parce que moins c'est cher. Et donc, nous sommes en train de finaliser une informatisation du relevé pour qu'il y ait une proposition des résultats qui se fasse de façon informatique avant d'aller au comité d'attribution. Et de toute façon, à terme, d'ici quelques mois, les résultats les cotations de l'audit sur le terrain seront également en ligne à destination des personnes qui veulent en savoir un peu plus, puisque si nous on dit que c'est vert et qu'elles veulent vérifier, elles pourront aller voir que c'est vert, mais que la largeur est de, mettons, 88 cm exactement. Donc le temps dépend un peu des situations, mais on sait que c'est crucial pour que l'audit soit le moins coûteux possible pour le propriétaire qui le demande. C'est une démarche volontaire dans notre cas.
Madame Fillon, aviez-vous quelque chose à...
En fait, pour nous, pour les lieux que nous avons évalués, tous les établissements de santé, en fait les cliniques ou les lieux de loisirs et de sport évidemment, on a fait les évaluations avec leur collaboration et ils ont été invités à consulter nos répertoires pour valider en fait l'information qui avait été mise sur le site web. Donc ça, c'était une façon pour nous de valider les informations. Ils ont été invités à communiquer avec nous pour tout changement dans leur service ou des changements d'accessibilité du point de vue architectural. De l'autre point de vue, nous misons à la pérennité, la mise à jour des répertoires par l'interaction du web. Donc, les utilisateurs qui créent le profil peuvent nous faire part de leurs commentaires, leurs observations. Et c'est la manière dont on assure le suivi.
Mr. Manning, I'm not sure how good your French is. Did you hear what the question was?
I think so. But what
The first question was, how long does it take you to do an audit? And the
Yeah.
second one was, how often do you verify if it's still as accessible
Yeah.
or not accessible as it was?
Okay, then I did get it right. I'm
Okay.
lucky. That has been, well, first, for any actual certification or verification process, whether it's ISO or whether it's green whatever, that has been the biggest challenge, and that is why so many of them have disappeared. And the reason for that is that the continuing costs to have professional certification and verification, and also the legal liabilities associated with providing that, and therefore your vouching that something is as it says it is, have started, that is why so many of the certification procedures, whether it's quality or environmental soundness or accessibility, have had great difficulties, and many of them has gone out of business, certainly as commercial enterprises. And that is simply because it is an expensive thing to do, and while many of the large hotel chains have been happy to do that because they see the direct benefits, and Scandic being by far the most advanced anywhere. But the reason we've gone the route we have is to avoid many of those issues, because the bed and breakfasts and the small restaurants and the curio shops and the people running roadside attractions and the people in smaller countries and less developed countries can't do that. At the same time, it in no way undermines the need to continue having the Scandics doing the excellent work, the people doing the advancing the standards and developing them where they can. But we would really like to outreach to everyone and to make sure that when you are looking online or through an agent, that you can find out basically whether it's safe for you, and what the conditions are likely to be there. And that can be whether it's a safari in Botswana or a boat ride in the Indonesian islands or wherever. And we feel that something has to be there that provides the fundamentals. And obviously we'd be delighted if everybody reached the German standard or put in legislation like they have in the United States to really encourage people to build accessible facilities and renovate. But these little guys aren't going to do that. But they just might be accessible for you. And that's really why we've been looking at our approach as a complement to all of the superb work that everybody else is doing.
Okay. And Mr. Vitelli, do you have something on either
Yes.
how long it takes to audit or
Every
how
year?
often you go back to make sure it's
Every year we come back to the structure for collecting the new data, for control if the improvement we suggest is applied every year, because the structure pay for our brand, and we go for that to control. And the data is completely free. You can find in our internet site, villageforall.net. It's completely free for end user, for tourists, but it's completely free for tour operator, for association, for everyone want to use. And we give all the information and all the document to the structure who can use in the internet site and in the brochure and the presentation they use. So, thank you.
Thank you. We still have a few minutes if any of the panelists had something that they didn't say and they wanted to add. Everything is good? Oh.
Actually, I will take one question. I would ask, one of the things I think we've heard some really excellent presentations done by different countries and different organizations. And from the perspective, I come from the tourism industry, from that perspective, obtaining access to that again is really difficult. And one of the big questions is how replicable these success stories are that we can hear of from different countries or different cities. And most of the ones that are most advanced are very local. And I'm wondering if there is any consistent way in which the lessons from these can be shared, not just at conferences.
Right. Well, hopefully, just with this summit, we will be answering some of those questions or some of those needs to know more about who's doing what and what is working, because we will be having a sum up of all the presentations that were done during the summit and making them available via website. And we will encourage people to add to that website as we go along. So hopefully that will be one of the options to make sure that we know what works somewhere else could work in our venue as well, in our countries and in our areas. So hopefully we can consult that, that website and add on to it and make sure that we keep up to date on what's working around the world. Thank you for all the panelists. Maybe we can just give a last little hand to our panelists.